Hello, everybody. It's Grizzly again from Lexington, Kentucky. From coast to coast, all around the world, good evening. I have a perfect guest on the show tonight for us, Mr. Sean. How you doing today, sir?
Good. How about yourself, Grizzly?
Doing great. Doing great. Thank you so much for coming on the show. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right. Well, I've been paranormal investigating for about 17 years. That's what I have more of my experience in. For about 4 to 5 years, we've also done some Bigfoot expeditions. I am the director of Central Pennsylvania Investigators, also a founder of the Catskill Appalachian Research Collective. And we, no matter what, for both groups, we're going for like trying to find proof of the existence of whether it be the paranormal or Bigfoot.
Well, that's interesting. So what made you get into this field?
Well, I always had an interest in the paranormal, and I had at a prior job, one of my coworkers told me they used to go ghost hunting, so I thought that sounded pretty cool. So that's how I started into that. And as far as go ahead.
No, go ahead. That's pretty neat.
Okay. And I just kept going every Saturday to Gettysburg.
Wow. A great location.
Oh, yeah. I went there almost every Saturday night. And as far as the Bigfoot goes, we were struggling to get some paranormal investigations. And some of my friends go, why don't we do a Bigfoot expedition? So I'm like, well, that sounds good to me. I have an interest there. So that's how we started doing that. Then I met up with a few other people that led me to a few other people, which led me into where I am now with the Catskill Appalachian Research Collective.
Wow. So during your paranormal experiences, have you witnessed or observed anything?
Well, one of the things we do have that was unusual. I actually had at one time first a flashlight started, and then some words came across a word app, which later we were able to verify part of it, which is amazing. I know they're mostly for entertainment, and I will tell you they're mostly for entertainment, but every once in a great while you might get something interesting off of that.
Right.
I even have that available. I can't play the whole thing probably because it's like 12 minutes long, but
yeah, go ahead and play some of it.
All right, let me see what I can do here. Give me a moment or two, because okay, here we go. I can screen share. Good. All right. That was okay. I think this is the one, because there's two from the same place. Okay. And now everything here is, I've been a part of other groups as well. And still technically I am the co-founder of Mason-Dixon as well. I have a number of titles, really.
Right on.
Let me see. Let me see. We have audio-wise going here.
That startled me because I didn't realize what was going on for a second.
I think I might be having a technical difficulty here. Can you hear any audio?
Barely.
Barely. Okay.
We were talking about one.
There we go. It came in crystal clear.
If it likes one-way glass.
Can you hear that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Now at the beginning here, the flashlight's gonna actually go on and off on command. And as we go, then I'll repeat what goes across on the word app.
I know you can do it now. course, I did ask him.
This might be a few minutes till we get there, though, let me add, but
Can you turn it on another time before he leaves?
Thank you for turning it on.
Oh, wow.
Try him a little more harder.
I also wanted to try to come with proof or with some kind of evidence for you, at least something interesting. Even if you don't want to call it evidence, that's fine.
But it's still amazing.
It
Thank
is.
you. Can you turn it on again? Just one more time.
And actually, two of my best clips, I have 4. There we go. Came on request.
A little more off, please. Actually, make it real bright.
We're from the 2 of them are from the same house of the 4 clips. My 4 best clips.
That was me, by the way. Thank you. Okay, now keep turning off. There you go.
He's making it brighter.
Yep.
Can you turn it off on a count of 3? 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Now you ask, Sean.
Thank you. Now we know you're here.
Can you understand that turning it on means yes, leaving it off means no? Do you understand that? If you do, please turn it on and then turn it off and fairly quickly. Can you turn it back off?
The flashlight communication is always at best kind of a little rough, no matter how you look at it.
Right.
Even when you can never tell completely that you're totally getting a response.
Thank you.
If you were a guy, turn it on again, please. Are you a female? Okay, we go back. Are you a male? If you are, please turn light back on. Okay. Can you turn it off? Can you turn it off, please? Thank you. So, are you a female? Okay, so I can definitely assume you are a male. The EMF meter just went off a little bit. Okay, too. When
I think it's because of his phone.
okay. Are you?
In a moment here, it's going to start doing the words.
Are you older than 18? If you are, please light up the light. If you're under 18, okay. Thank you.
What'd you ask?
Are you over 18?
Okay.
So you are over 18. Can you turn the light off, please?
That's amazing.
You can do it. Turn back off.
Well, what's even as cool as that is, I think the fact that
Can you turn off, please?
the word app came across with. In the end, the first name was slightly misspelled. I'll say in advance, it comes up as EDDY, and we verified an Eddie.
Wagner?
But the last name that comes up after that's is correct.
Wow.
Interesting work considering the questions we're asking. What's happened to
Is that what it said?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's strong.
interesting.
Ask if I can touch one of them.
Are you stronger?
Are you older than 30? If you are, please light up the light. Okay. So I can safely assume you're between 18 and 30 years old.
And there's no real way to explain, especially how that comes across on the word app, how it could be that close.
30, correct?
Even
Right.
if the rest what comes afterwards, it then goes on to say red crash collision. I'll just say right now. But
Can you,
even
can you turn it
what are the odds
off,
even that
please,
you could
again?
have in a row a slight misspelling of a first name, and then what comes up next actually turns out to be the last name? I mean, could it be coincidence? It certainly could be,
5 or so.
but the probability would probably be
All right.
extreme, an extreme case.
Right. Absolutely.
8. 8. Did you eat something?
Like,
You gotta turn the light off first.
was it like he ate something or like the number 8?
No, it's 8. 18.
Oh,
Okay.
please turn it off.
Thank you.
Go ahead and ask.
Eddie.
Eddie.
Now we're at that point.
Is Eddie your name? E-D-D-I-E, not Andy,
No,
correct?
E-D-D-Y.
Oh, well, either way. Close enough.
Is Eddie your name? Pose.
Oh, that was a good one. Look at that, Eddie.
Yeah, it's a bright reply. So your name is Eddie. All right, can you turn that off, please? He's between 18 and 30. His name is Eddie.
Okay, turn the light off. Little.
It could be Eddie Little. Is Little your last name?
Eddie Little. Little Eddie.
Little Eddie could be a nickname, but.
And again, it'll go on to be Eddie, and Eddie Little did die 2 years prior as
Wow.
well. And house was in the area of a farm they once had. The house was more than 2 years old, obviously, but
Little, your last name. That's kind of inconclusive. Can you please tell me a little more? Is Little your last name? Probably not, because I haven't gotten a reply.
Can you touch one of us?
Is that a yes? You can touch one of us? Can you turn the light off, please?
Turn the light off. Turn the light off.
Yeah, can you please turn us
You
a little
go.
more?
Cutting.
C-U-T-T-I-N-G.
Yep. Car. Cutting car.
Well, probably not cutting a car, but can you please turn the light up? I guess we can say he's an Eddie has a car.
Maybe he died from cutting a car.
okay, for that possibility that they just said, he did die. He did turn out to be an older man, but he did die at the University of Maryland Shock Trauma Hospital.
Really?
Yes, you don't normally die there. Well, from where they lived, it was a good drive if you just had a heart attack. So assuming it was an auto accident nearby where he lived, they probably would have flown him to shock trauma. So that's another interesting fact that comes in here.
Are you still here with us?
If you're still here, let's see if we can do this. Turn the flashlight on and
That was the last question we asked.
say something. Just what are you
Hey.
trying to tell us?
Can I take a picture of you? Can you turn that flashlight off? Turn the light off, I mean. Can I take a picture of you? Will you show yourself the best you can if I do that? Turn the light off and then I'll re-ask the question. It will not harm you. There's no harm to you in either way.
And stronger too. That word, I didn't quite get with the stronger part.
It's going to be a bright light coming your way.
Are you?
Can I take your picture? If I can, please light it up bright.
Yeah, I was amazed when I found out all that I did upon research, which I did that night when I got home, or early that morning. Yeah,
All
early
right.
that morning, because you can see what time
Get bright.
we were running at
Turn
here.
it on. Turn it off.
If you can, please show yourself.
This light's much brighter, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. The light is out, right?
Yeah.
Is it out?
Yep.
All right. Prove something here. Light.
Yeah.
The
Let's
light is out. Yeah.
let's
You
get
got it on
recording
camera,
of
right? Light's out. Light's not on. Taking the flashlight up. Shaking it.
shake it as hard as you can.
Came on there for a second. Okay. Not coming on.
Repeat.
Put it back down.
Cool. Let's see if he's still there. Are you still here?
All right, and that would end that.
That's pretty impressive.
It's definitely interesting, no matter how you look at it. Here, I think I stopped sharing. Yeah, I did. I should have. Okay, there we go. Now I'm back.
So, what was going through your mind during all this going on?
I was amazed. I was also unsure how much of it was really true or happening, because you can only put so much faith in that app and everything.
Yeah,
So-
that's true.
So I was. You were always kind of hopeful, but it's like, hopefully it's reality, and getting something interesting, but you never quite know.
But you're getting things almost on command every time.
Yeah, which was awesome. And we always try to establish communication. We ask the flashlight to do something. Is what we do. It's actually getting harder now to do that because that's a mini mag, and they're not as easy to come by. Or at least I don't have the mini mags like I used to. And once you change out the light bulb, you really can't change the light bulb for it to still work right. To the brighter like LED light, that's when it doesn't work right anymore. The turning doesn't work right.
Huh. That's interesting to know.
Yeah, if anyone has it, keep your old bulb in there or buy a replacement bulb for it if you can. Other than upgrading.
Right. That's true. So, throughout your investigations in the afterlife, what have you learned? What have you questioned?
I must say, I never, I can say I've learned a lot from day one. As far as the afterlife and stuff like that, I have some beliefs. I don't know what's true or not for certain. Like one of my what I heard, which seems realistic anyway, or semi, is that maybe you hang around for like 2 weeks and then you gotta make your decision on what you're going to do, where you're going to go. So you can like watch your funeral, for example. That's one thing I've heard. And I've heard all kinds of things from like Coast to Coast AM to it's hard to say because that's a tough question because it's just impossible to really answer. I'm still trying to learn something. That's a tough area to learn.
Yeah, and it really is because there's so many variables, so many theories, so many backstories, so many people's interviews, so many people's beliefs, and and everybody tells me, Grizzly, don't do it, don't do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, ladies and gentlemen. But religion, a lot of people goes on religion. They always tell me don't talk about religion. No.
I believe though, if you have trouble, that we're going to cost very little in that regards, but once in a great while. And from my experience, if you can get someone help through the Catholic religion, it's the oldest and the most and the strongest and the most knowledgeable. Of course, hopefully you don't ever have to do that or consider doing that.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with you. So you went from the spirit world to Sasquatch.
Yes.
So
we still do investigate paranormal too, as well.
Okay, so tell me how that transition worked.
Well, what happened is friends of mine came to me and said, why don't we consider doing Bigfoot? And I said, sounds good to me. The equipment, a lot of the same equipment can be used for both. That's the beauty of it. It's not, we already had the equipment. We didn't have to go money spending crazy to be able to do it as well.
Yeah, that's good.
Which is probably not common for switching something like that. Certainly not common. And it was just something that, and I have an interest in it as well. My belief is that I want to believe. Okay. That's what I say about myself. There's a lack of evidence out there. However, I do believe also that maybe the DNA tests haven't gone far enough. One of my guests on my show, he made a comment once that I'm not sure it was on my show or someone else's, that most people who they do the DNA research, they stop when they hit human. Someone actually supposedly continued and found a difference. Now, I don't know what true. I'm sorry?
The 2%. It's usually 98% human and 2% unknown.
Okay. And someone found something different. So that, to me, that's really interesting. That means there's something out there that we don't know that's very close to us.
That is correct. And a lot of people are not aware that chimpanzees are 98% human and 2% primate.
I didn't know that.
That usually shocks a lot of people. So, in reality, as we speak in our minds, it's not that big of a difference. But in DNA structure, that's millions of differences. What's been popular in the past few years is eDNA. I think that's going to help with not only Bigfoot, but also police work. I'm retired police.
That's cool.
eDNA, they can test water from a stream, lake, creek, river, pond, anything that's walked through there, urinated in there, traveled through there, whatever. They can siphon that water and collect all the parts of DNA that's around that area. And they test it, and it always comes up 98% human and 2% unknown. They can't match the other 2% to anything on the earth. So what does that tell you? The evidence is there.
Well, certainly, yeah. It certainly means that there's something out there that's similar to human. Right? It's Bigfoot. It could very well be Bigfoot. I'm not saying it's not, but there's something at least very close.
And don't get me wrong, I say this on every show.
Sure.
I know there's little Johnny out in the middle of the woods, drunk, wearing a monkey suit, playing pranks on people. I know there is. I'm sorry, poor little Johnny. I bring you up almost every show. But it happens. And, we have the hoaxers. They're still out there, But, you watch some of the TV shows where people are actually out there enjoying time with their family, and one of them walks in front of them and they all freak out. I mean, you can tell that's true expression.
Oh, definitely.
And they don't know what it is, and they're all freaking out. So,
yeah, definitely.
And I learned, especially interviewing people and investigating, that there are people with some pretty good prime photos that are not blobs. They look like almost studio pictures of a Sasquatch.
Wow.
And I'm
Are they afraid of ridicule, and that's why they don't come out with them?
Yep. And the other thing is they don't want people to know where they're at, so they don't have people camping in their backyard.
I can see that happening easily. Or people hunting in their backyard.
That is correct. And I'm like, one night I couldn't sleep. So, I was sitting on the couch at 6 a.m. in the morning, and I was still unable to sleep. And I was thinking about everybody that's telling me about their photographs and videos, and they would send them, some of them send them to me. And I was just like, people need to see this. They really do. And I'm thinking, how in the world can somebody see this without being known who they are? So I shared a new group. It's called Share Your Evidence Podcast, EVPs, Footprints, Howls, and Growls. And there's a little slide button that you can post anonymously to where nobody knows who you are. It doesn't leave your name. It just leaves what you post and your evidence. This way, you don't have to be afraid. Tim from next door is not going to know that's you taking pictures in the middle of the woods and out back. And so far, it's, starting out, like I said, it's only not even a week old.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, it really is. And my intent was for everybody to take all their evidence. I sent you the link, by the way. to take all the evidence and share it, because I don't know how many groups you're a member of. Right now, I think I'm 175, and there's people that just blows me out of the water with 400 or 500, 600.
Oh, wow.
And I love looking at other Bigfoot groups and their evidence and stuff like that, but other people won't. They'll join just a couple of groups, and that's it. But each Bigfoot group out there, or Sasquatch group, you know, the hunters, the investigations, the expeditions, they have all evidence, but nobody gets to see it.
Well,
So
I do have something else in that regards. I have an audio recording.
see, let's hear it.
All right, give me a moment. I'm going to share the screen again.
And that's why I came up with that Facebook group. And you know, please share, you know, all your information that you have freely. It, you know, as it's made for you guys, because people do go there and look, and people go there and listen.
Okay, this is my current Facebook page. All right, hopefully it should work. Okay, there we go. This before we begin on it, this was like I said, it was recorded at Allegheny National Forest. We were outside of Bradford, Pennsylvania. This is part of the Catskill Appalachian Research Collective. We were out there it was early October, about 2 years ago. And the sound went off and on for about a half hour.
Wow.
But we, of course, I do have a small segment over here. Can you hear it okay?
Yeah.
It is raining, needless to say. It'll be in the background and everything, of course.
Yeah, I can hear it. Yeah, I'll be out of there. I'll be gone.
It's a really cool recording.
I mean, wasn't you scared?
I really wasn't. From doing the paranormal, I don't react too much, really. Now, my colleague Brendan, he's the one who went, "Oh shit," but I didn't really react too much. You don't hear me. All right, there we go. We're gonna. And I should return here in a moment.
There you go.
All right.
But yeah, like I said, when you ever have a chance, you got some downtime, throw that up on that group I sent you. People would love to hear that. You know, if you want to share your name, share your name. You know,
All right.
take credit for it. You know, people don't get to hear that stuff on a regular basis.
Oh, we sent it also. We also sent it off to David Ellis from the Olympic Project. It came back as pretty much being an unknown, which was what would be likely. Not even a wolf. We thought maybe it could come back as a wolf, which would still be really good because there aren't supposed to be wolves in Pennsylvania.
Right.
So even that would have been pretty cool.
Was it, I guess, analyzed below the Hertz level and everything?
That part I'm not sure, but I believe it was.
Yeah, well, I've never heard that sound before. Or, yes, I have, but, you know, from a distance, you know, from other recordings that people have sent me. But, you know, other people would their skin would crawl hearing that.
That's pretty good. It is pretty good, I have to admit.
I mean, and like I said, once again, that's why I created that group. You know, because I want people to hear everybody's evidence. You know, I want people to share their photographs. And Flat Rock says, "Hi, DA." You know who that is?
They said hi, who?
DA.
DA. I don't know a DA.
Yeah, it's two guests in the chat room talking to each other.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
But what else have you experienced doing Bigfoot and investigating and expeditions and?
Well, that's truly the best recording we have, or audio we have. We've gotten some other unusual sounds as well. I don't have them readily available, but we have gotten some more. And beyond that, not a whole lot really. It's still very difficult. We don't have any video, no pictures. You go out and you hope. I always like one of the people I first went with said, pretty much go out and enjoy yourself. Get out in the woods or get outside. Period. And that's mostly, of course, what you have to be doing it for, and hope you happen to stumble upon something.
Right.
Because it's so hard to. You're so fortunate when you do, when something like that does come across.
Well, earlier you said the Appalachian Trail.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm in Lexington, Kentucky, which that is not too far from where I live. And mentioning that, it brings up all the thousands of people that go missing from that location,
Mm-hmm.
all the way up to the north.
Actually, go ahead. I'm sorry.
They don't find a body.
Mm-hmm.
They don't find camp gear. They don't find bicycles.
Mm-hmm.
They don't find rifles from hunters or nothing, not even a trace. So what's going on there?
Well, I don't know exactly, but we are actually going to do an expedition trying to find a certain individual or evidence of a certain individual who disappeared, just like you said. A guy by the name of Thomas Messick. He was about 82 years old. In November, it'll be the 7-year anniversary of his disappearance. He was a survivalist, so he knew his way around the woods. He had a rifle. He had a radio. There was another guy 100 yards away. It was way back a rough road, so no one's sneaking in or out.
Oh,
And
yeah. I remember seeing that on TV.
And you could also hear, I mean, the sounds carry so well because you're not in a city and everything like that. So you could hear anything. And this guy literally went poof.
Yeah, he's supposed to be sitting on a tree stump.
I'm not actually, I'm not super familiar with it. I just know we're looking into it, a little bit of it. Yeah, I'm not as familiar with it, some of the other guys, but he very well could have been sitting at a tree stump. We were looking for some of my colleagues were looking for the tree on the one video when they drove up the road.
Yeah, because the other guy went down the road further. Yeah, I remember watching that on TV, and once again, they never found anything.
Well, we're going to try metal detectors in that area where they think, which they think is the right tree. It might be harder because some of the markings have gone away from the tree now. But we're also going to try something a little bit different. We're going to try a remote viewer. I had a remote viewer on my show, and they were going to try her, see what she thought as far as where he is or what happened to him.
Wow, that'd be interesting.
That certainly would be.
You know,
can I throw a plug in for my show?
Absolutely.
All right, cool. For anyone who's watching, I do a paranormal show on YouTube. The channel name is CARC Universal. We're predominantly a Bigfoot channel. So the Bigfoot show is from behind tall trees. We have a couple sets of couple different shows. One is actually 2 women as well. We have 2 guys, 2 women. And then I have a co-host on the paranormal side. It's Paranormal Files Into the Darkness. I have a co-host who's a psychic. Her name is Liz. And we try to bring on, being that we're on a Bigfoot channel, I really try hard to bring on semi-known names anyway. So that way we can compete with the number of views on the with the Bigfoot side.
Right on, right on. That's great.
Thank you.
That really is. That's awesome. It really is.
That's one of the other things we do with the Catskill Avalanche Research Collective.
Well, that's awesome. But talking about the Appalachian Trail, talking about Yellowstone, talking about Yosemite, talking about the state parks, talking about the national parks. All those thousands and thousands and thousands of people that go missing. And no one can explain it.
And sometimes they reappear at a huge distance away, and would have been very difficult, if not impossible, for them to have traversed that land.
That is true.
There's a number of stories out there with that as well. And then quite often, most of the time, though, unfortunately, if they find anything, they'll find the remains because the person didn't survive, unfortunately.
But once again, the high probability of finding any remains, camp gear, bicycles, the hunter's gear, the hunter's rifles, firearms, it's like poof, they're gone.
Yeah.
You know? And the national parks won't say anything because that's a $1 billion industry, you know, for people to go there and watch and hike and do their thing. And
also, don't forget the paper industry with the trees.
Yes.
If it could come down to saving land for the preservation of Bigfoot, there would be paper companies that cost of paper price skyrocket because you wouldn't. I don't know if you'd be able to make paper.
Yeah. You know, somebody once told me, follow the money. That's all you have to do.
That makes a lot of sense in this case.
It does. But, you know, I've heard the portal theory. I heard back in 1954, Eisenhower signed a treaty in a hangar, military hangar with the aliens. That is a known fact. It's been documented. The granddaughter came forward last year and said, yes, it is true. Now, some people speculate. I don't know what was signed, but something was signed. You know, we're seeing more UFOs lately than anything in the world. Once again, and it's because people are looking up and people are having the electronics in their hands, such as cell phones with cameras and pictures. But once again, how do you go back and try to explain to someone's loved one that we can't find them? There's no trace.
Well, and also in some of those cases, though, my theory would be, watch out if the car was for some reason would not be there for someone, or especially in the case of Thomas Messick in particular. I watched a video in which a local said he didn't think he was ever there. And that's generally my belief, is that the guy was probably never there in the first place. I don't know what happened to him. He still disappeared no matter how you look at it, which still makes it an investigation.
Right.
But I have serious doubts that he was ever there based on what happened.
And once again, these are theories.
Absolutely. It's all theories.
What's this say? Read that last
I
comment.
missed something. Can you say it again?
I think you're drinking what does that say? I can't read
Colitis.
Kool-Aid.
I can help reorder everyday items, track your deliveries, add to your shopping list, or answer product questions. To get started, just tell me what you need, like order AA batteries.
But, you know, it just goes to show, you know, people have different theories. People have different thoughts. You know, people, you know, always bring up Sasquatch, Dogman, other cryptids. You know, you told me 25 years ago that there's monsters that goes bump in the night. I would laugh at you. now seeing the evidence and people's reports and talking to people and seeing their photographs and videos and I'm thinking, man, what else is out there that we do not realize exists? There are monsters washing up from the ocean onto beaches on other countries' beaches. They have no idea what it is. You know, some of them have fur, some of them has feathers. You know, some of them are 18, 20 foot long, 6 foot around. So, you know, we know more about Mars and the moon than we do about our own Earth.
Definitely. I had someone tell me just on Monday, for example, I was talking to him and he goes, there was like an 8-year-old, I think it was, well, a young man or a young boy walking along somewhere. And he looked down, he saw a fire in the ground. Okay. And it turned out there were supposed to be 2 foot tall buildings. Now I have no idea where it's supposed to be. And he peed to put it out, to put the fire out, apparently. Now it sounds like I can't remember the one movie in which the one guy says trying to get the kid to pee in the toilet. It sounds like that but in real life outside. And the person also shared with me another story, which I can't really relate to, in which he saw what looked to be about a 1 foot tall figure come down the road. And there were 3 witnesses to it as well. So that was, or 2 other witnesses. So that's kind of interesting. It's hard to verify. It's hard to investigate. It's really impossible to get the validity out of it. But it's interesting no matter how you look at it.
Right. Well, I mean, you look at Ireland, you know, the Trows, and what else? The gnomes and stuff like that. They build around the rocks they call homes, the highways and roads, and you know, it's just amazing. It's, you know, people's beliefs, you know, and it goes back from generations and generations. I mean, if you look back at the 16th, 17th, 1800s, I mean, look at the maps the sailors drawn about the McCracken and other sea monsters, mermaids.
Oh yeah.
You know, and what were we told? They're always drunken on the ship, drinking. And it was last year, a sailor boat, and I think you can Google this, was attacked by a McCracken, and it was poling it in the opposite direction, had one arm over the sailboat, and I think it was a sailboat race, and one of the tentacles came up through the stern where they steered the paddle, because that's in the water. They had an open hole there, and they said one of it, and it's all on film. Let me see if I can get this right in the camera. One was that big around, and that wasn't the end of it. And it was like 4 or 5 feet up. You know.
Any idea if it was video or was it just a camera picture?
No, it was actual live recording.
Okay, that's good.
And
I definitely prefer video. Too easy to play with like one picture.
Right, and they were beating it with oars.
Mm-hmm.
Left and right, these 3 guys. One guy took a knife out and was poking it, jamming it. This went on for an hour. And, I mean, you can hear the fright. You know, they didn't know what was going to happen. And after a little over an hour, it let go. I guess it got enough knife stabs or something. Who knows? But, you know, there's things down in our ocean that we do not know exist. And we're still finding things in the ocean that are new to us, or washing up on beaches, or the fishermen are catching them in their nets. You know, look at the the whales
Mhm.
with the suction cups on them. Those are huge suction cups.
On whales?
Yes.
Okay. Where
Yeah,
on whales?
because towards the front of the head,
Okay.
because they can dive extra deep. So, and they're calling that, attacks from the giant squids and so forth. And yeah, I mean, when you have a chance, Google that. It's really something.
I will definitely have to check it out. Probably, hopefully, it'll be on YouTube and I can find it fairly easily.
Oh yeah, you should be able to. But we spend more time worrying about going to Mars, worrying about going to outer space, instead of spending our time on Earth looking at our oceans and our lands. We really are. Oh, Bo says scars on the whole bodies from large squid suckers. Yep. You're right, Bo. Yeah, I said head, but it is actually the whole body. So, I mean, it's just amazing. We don't put more money into our environment. But I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Well, I agree with you. I'm not the most knowledgeable in terms of a lot of what you've been talking about lately or the last few minutes. But you're right. I mean, we have been putting more money into going to space towards the moon. They're hoping to have a landing, I think, in the next 5 years, if I recall correctly. And yet the seas are like maybe 25% drawn out, if that much. And in the depths, we don't know what's in the depths.
All the guests out there, people watching across the world, coast to coast, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it China 10 or 15 years ago announced that they were going to the moon, and all hell broke loose in the United Nations and said, the hell you are. You're not going to the moon. The theory is we went to the moon and we were told to never come back. Is that true? I can't prove it. But
Who would
why
have
do
told
we
us to
stop
never
going to the moon?
Yeah. Who would have told us to never go back to the moon?
The aliens.
Oh, yeah, okay.
If
Is there
you
like a?
look, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, I'm not good. But is there like a? Do they have a base there or a couple bases?
Well, that's what we wonder why Eisenhower signed a treaty in 54.
Okay.
Now, if you stop and look at our universe and look at all the planets and all the moons, our moon is the only one that does not spin as it orbits. A lot of people don't know that.
I don't think that I knew that.
That's why it's always called the dark side of the moon. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Pink Floyd. But that's why it's called the dark side of the moon.
Okay.
So
That makes
because
sense.
we don't actually know what's actually back there. And I mean, you think about the technology back then, was it even possible to get to the moon? They had so many problems, out there coming back. Some people said, they were helped by aliens. I can't confirm that.
Some people believe it's on like a Hollywood movie set, or the whole thing was a movie set somewhere anyway, if not Hollywood.
Yeah, and that is true, and they've got a lot of different pictures that they can prove it, allegedly, about how the flag waves, the shadows from the characters, the way the sun is, where the moon was at, and even down to the footprints. So, moon is totally locked. Tiddly locked. So that's what I'm saying. that's why we haven't been back.
Yeah, you do have to wonder. I mean, because if we did it once and we've made many forward advancements, and how come we haven't made a trip?
To the daily. It's hard for me to read where I'm sitting from my laptop. I'm sorry, Bo. But no, you're right. You know, I mean, I don't know this as being a fact or anything. You know, people has their own theories and stuff like that, but why doesn't our moon spin as it rotates around Earth?
Yeah, because I
And
remember in
that's the
particular.
only one out of the galaxy that does not do that. Now that I cannot explain. So makes you stop and go,
It certainly does.
You know, scientists don't want to prove Bigfoot, cryptids. Follow the money. Why doesn't the moon spin? Why haven't we gone back to the moon? So many unanswered questions. And when the United Nations says no to China, I believe it was China, you know, what does that tell us? Unbelievable. Let's see what Bo says. Well, I'm sorry to be a bummer, but Earth's moon isn't the only tidally locked planetary duo. Well, I didn't know that. Pluto is a moon and Charon are tidally locked. Well, I didn't know that either. I didn't study that, and it didn't come up in my study. So if that's true, it's good to know. But it's still weird.
It certainly would be.
It is. So what do you think about Sasquatch? What in your regards, as you think somebody's talking about Sasquatch, or you're thinking about Sasquatch, what comes to your mind?
Well, my beliefs are I'm a flesh and blood type person.
Okay.
I'm not big on the paranormal Bigfoot. Supposedly unknown hair samples have been found, and I just don't believe that if it's paranormal, it would be able to leave hair samples. The only possibility would be that sometimes it's paranormal, other times it's flesh and blood. But I believe I'm truly a flesh and blood person. Plus, it makes calls. Possible calls. That's the one I played earlier. Could very well be Bigfoot. And that's just, I just don't think it could be, it has to be something real. And not, doesn't go invisible. Doesn't just vanish. I don't believe in that either.
The cloaking part?
Correct. And sometimes people report hearing a lot of noises in the woods. Even such small animals like squirrels and chipmunks, especially squirrels, actually can make a lot of noise in the woods, more than what you'd ever realize.
Yep, that's true. I was a squirrel hunter once.
And the beauty about this is I might be dead wrong. So that's the other good thing. It's all theory and beliefs.
That's what it boils down to.
Absolutely.
You know, I've got people that tell me that UFOs and Bigfoots go hand in hand. And I don't see how an 8 or 9 foot Bigfoot gets into a tiny craft.
I've heard stories that they're supposed to be, the sightings are very common, and some people believe that Bigfoot are their soldiers.
Yeah, I heard that.
I've heard that, but I needless to say, I'm not a big fan of that general belief of being true anyway.
Yeah, I believe that too. You know, it's actually hard to believe what to believe because, like I said, there's things that go bump into the night that's not supposed to be there.
That is definitely true.
We're seeing things that we're not supposed to be seeing. We're hearing things that we're not supposed to be hearing. There's things that we are seeing or not supposed to be seeing. So, it's after watching some of the evidence that has been presented to me has changed a lot of outlooks and my feelings towards a lot of things. But to where I land, it's kind of hard if I think it's flesh and blood. Okay. But let me ask you this.
Okay.
What color is a polar bear?
They're supposed to be white. Although I don't
Right.
think they're all white, though.
They're black.
They're black.
Their hair absorbs the surrounding to make them white.
Okay.
Because somebody caught me on that question. I had to look it up. So I did not know that either. So, well, Grizzly, what happens if Bigfoot has the same technology, and their fur or hair is translucent and they can stand next to a bunch of leaves and turn green and you don't see them? Well, I don't know. I never really thought
Maybe.
about
Are there any other mammals? Anyone in chat? Are there any other mammals that can do that? In case
there are more things in heaven and earth. I can't read that word. Can you read it, Horatio? Than are dreamed of in your philosophy, Hamlet. That is true. But once again, we're seeing stuff. There's that new show, Paranormal Caught on Camera.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 98% of those videos and pictures are caught on cell phones, and they're downloaded from cell phones, and they still have it on cell phones. And from my recollection and knowledge, they look at the cell phones and the footage from the cell phones to make sure they're not tampered with. And some of those videos you see really makes you wonder about things. Like that guy driving down the highway, and he said he sees a pterodactyl flying. He about wrecked his car to get out to film it. And it's an actual pterodactyl flying.
I'm gonna have to look for that. I'm guilty of not having watched a whole lot of Paranormal Caught on Camera episodes.
Yeah, I mean, let me tell you something. Since I've been injured and stuff, I'm kind of limited on what I can do right now, and so I soak every TV thing that I can get in. And ladies and gentlemen, don't get me wrong, Grizzly doesn't say everything you see on TV is real. People can fake and produce items or pictures and videos.
Definitely.
They're incorrect. So I just want to throw that out there. See,
couldn't agree more on that one.
Flat Rock says polar bears and Bigfoot both have diffused hair. So if that's the case, truly, then Bigfoot can cloak. It can blend in with the background like Predator. The best way to describe it. So, I never had Bigfoot hair. All the Bigfoot hair I've seen, that has been, retrieved, supposedly retrieved, that belonged to a Bigfoot, has always been pure black. So,
I kind of doubt that one in all. I'm sorry, Flat Rock, but I kind of doubt that one in all honesty. On the Bigfoot part.
Not seeing any other mammals or primates with translucent fur. Thank you, Bo. And that's
And
what
then
I'm
that's
saying.
part of the reason too why I would agree, why I would go in that route as far as the hair color changing at the end. But Flat Rock could be right. Like I said earlier, I could be dead wrong, and Flat Rock could be right in this case. There's no way to tell at this time.
And Grizzly could be wrong too. You know,
Anything's possible.
I'm not a scientist. I'm not a rocket scientist. You know, I'm here interviewing people that has experiences, that have eyewitness encounters, that tells their stories. You know, unfortunately, people are not good with judging creatures from a distance. That's why we have 10, 12, 15-foot tall Bigfoots.
Certainly.
You know, and I'm not calling anybody a liar. You know, when they send me footage and pictures, they ask me, Grizzly, take a look at this evidence. Is this photograph real? Is this video real? And the first thing I tell them, sir, ma'am, number one, I wasn't there. And number two, I didn't take that. So I don't know.
I was laughing earlier at Flat Rock's reply to my statement. Sorry about that. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful what you just said. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I get a kick out of some of the comments too. But, you know, I've seen pictures of shadows and people will draw a dog man out of it. I've seen pictures of shadows and bushes and Bigfoot supposed to be leaning out of it. You know, maybe that their naked eye saw what they saw and the camera didn't capture it. I don't know. That could be a possibility. You know, I'm tied to my studio here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I can grab this. I'm by myself. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I had to retrieve something because I'm going to bring something up I think you're going to find amusing. So there's a book out by Kimley Cotter, and it's called Unlikely Encounters. It's not a very big book, thick book. Let me go the other way. See? Not very big. I haven't read it yet. I just got it. And there's a picture of 1, 2, 3 Sasquatches, and one of them looks like it's holding a baby. And how that picture came to be, they were staying at a hotel somewhere out in the woods. I don't remember what year it was. And the two women were leaving, and they said at the front desk, "Please be careful. There are bears out there right now. That's the time of season it is." So the ladies were like, "Okay, no problem." So they're walking, and they walk for a good 45 minutes to an hour. And Kimberly's like, "Stop." And her girlfriend was like, "What?" She goes, "Look, there's bears." She reaches into her purse and automatically pulls out a camera and takes one picture. And they'll both turn around and run. Well, she goes home a week later, gets the film developed, and she starts screaming. She calls a girlfriend, and she's still screaming. Her girlfriend thinks she's being attacked or murdered or having a heart attack. She's like, "Can you calm down? What in the world's going on?" She said, "You are not going to believe what we took a picture of." And she said, "What?" It was a family of Bigfoots. See if I can bring this up here. And Guess what type of camera she used? A point and shoot camera.
So it was long enough ago that it was a regular film camera then, or digital. We talking digital or point?
Point
Not
and
that matters a
shoot.
whole lot.
You remember when we were kids?
Yes. So it was a film camera, not digital.
Right.
Oh, wow.
So, and this happened, I think, in the 2015s, 2016s, or, I mean, you can still buy the point and shoot cameras for the kids. It's waterproof. You can go underneath the water and take pictures and so forth. You know, Walgreens, other places still develop film.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know you could develop film still. Or at least
Yep, and it's called Unlikely Encounters, a Bigfoot story, Kimberly Cotter, and it's on Amazon. And when I was talking to her and she showed me the book on online, I was like, that is the craziest thing that you thought they were beers. You know what I got on my mind?
that's
Bears.
nothing wrong with having that in your mind.
Yeah, bears, and somehow you wanted to take a picture, and you did, and turned around, and y'all ran off. I said, that's amazing. So, yeah, they were traveling down below the path. And
That's a cool picture.
yeah, I mean, it is. You know, and in reality, a point and shoot camera, and there's people that are taking $5,000, $7,000, $8,000 cameras out there, and the best they can come back is a blurb or a blob. Now, I know from my interviews, investigations, Bigfoot does interfere with electronics. They cause the game cameras to have dead batteries. I seen game cameras ripped off the trees. I seen them look into the game camera, then toss the game camera 40, 50, 60 feet away. You know, I got guys that hide them in bushes, and they get them as they go by. Then they come back and look at it, and it gets a picture of their face.
That would be excellent.
But they won't share the photographs.
Oh, I say, because that's one thing that I've always wondered, how, with all the trail cams out there, how come there isn't a great trail cam camera or trail cam picture that's rarely out there available to be seen?
Now, this is what I've been told by many, many older investigators, that if you do not, or let me rephrase this. If you have a Sasquatch problem at home, only thing you have to do is buy 4 game trail cameras and hang one on each of your 4 corners of your house, and you will never see a Bigfoot again. And I'm like, you got to be joking. He's like, no, that's what I tell my neighbors. And he says, that's why I keep them all down in my own valley. I'm like, why is that? He said, Grizzly, do you not realize they can see the hour? And I was like, are you joking? No, they can see it. That's why they stay away from it. It is a possibility. You know, and if you stop and think of all the trail cams that are out there, we never get a good picture. It's always
it's amazing.
Hand, you know, it's always part of a face that's too close and blurry. But this guy and his fellow members got smart and hide them in bushes. And they said they put them back 5-6 foot in the bush, but they got the camera pointing right out on the trail. And he says, don't get me wrong, sometimes it takes days to find it. He says, one of my game trail cameras has been bitten apart, got teeth marks and everything on it. He said, think about deer. You know, they can see your clothing. You know, I was like, you know, you're right. I didn't think about that. You know, they get excellent smell too. We got some comments.
They react to scent though. I don't think they don't really react to our colors, just of clothing, for example. But they react. But if they smell us, for deer.
Bo says they claim heard is that the Sasquatch could smell the off-grassing of the plastics of the cameras. Appalachian Tales of Terror with Mr. Jim Blatton. He says bright lights won't work. They don't like to be seen, period. And that's also true. Thanks for bringing that up. If you do put bright lights around the house, they do not like to be seen. They see our lights on the trail cams. That's what Mr. Jim Blanton says too.
Strong possibility in theory.
Yeah.
Based on how things work in that regards.
And you know, and I get a lot of feedback, and a lot of people I interview tells me that. You know, when that guy tells me, you know, this poor old woman was getting her vegetables taken, and they don't like onions, by the way. They always leave her onions, but they take everything else. You know, and then, you know, when there's no more in the garden, then they start tearing the siding off her house and banging on the walls. She panics and calls this guy. And the guy's like, oh, this is all you have to do. Matter of fact, I'll bring Ford down right now, and you'll never see him again for a while. And I'll be damned if it didn't work. But now her house is destroyed. The aluminum siding's been ripped off. The gutter's been twisted. You know, and there's all kinds of big gouges or bumps, or what do you want to call it, where they hit on the side of the siding and make dents. So it's just crazy.
That possibility would be crazy.
Yeah, right. Jim Blanton says there could be multiple things going on with sight and hearing cams. Who knows? And I've heard that too. I heard that they can hear the trail camera going off. They can hear all that. So, and you know, they gotta have perfect hearing. Deer do. So
I definitely agree.
You know,
it's extremely intelligent.
They are. You know, what do they do with their dead bodies?
I kind of believe there's a chance that nature takes care of that. That's my main belief in that regards.
Well, sir, sooner or later we had to find a bone.
That is true. Something has to turn up eventually, though.
A skull or something. Like that idiot that bought that skull off Amazon and buried it in the mud and took pictures of it, and everybody went ape nuts around Facebook, and we finally thought we had the Holy Grail, and it turned out to be made of plastic. You remember that one?
No, I don't. Well, I do. I think vaguely remember something about a skull being pulled out of mud or dirt. That does sound sort of.
That's the one.
How like 5 years ago? I don't even know. I'm guessing that big time.
It was less than a year ago, I think.
Oh, less than a year ago? Okay.
Yeah, because it hit everybody's Bigfoot page. You know, we were like, oh my God, the Holy Grail. It finally showed up. And of course, little Johnny was playing his tricks. So.
And that's about what it would take to truly prove it. I think it might truly take a dead body. Now, I'm not, no matter what, I'm not going to shoot one unless my life would be threatened. But I believe it probably almost, except for the eDNA, if that would come through to something, it would almost take a dead body except for that scenario, I think.
Let me ask you something.
Okay.
And I'm being for real.
Okay.
You're out in the middle of this woods,
Mm-hmm.
and you got one pissed off Sasquatch. For whatever reason, he is just so aggressive. He wants to draw blood with you. And you drop it right in his tracks. You empty out your magazine. You're lucky because the last two shots went right into where it really hit to drop.
Because I think they would be tough to kill. I don't care if you have a hunting rifle. Even with a hunting rifle, I think they'd be very difficult to kill.
A rifle, I'd probably use a 45-70.
Okay.
But let's say, theoretically, you dropped one.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have a body.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do?
I would definitely take it out of there.
How can you carry something that's 500, 600, 700 pounds?
That's a good point. I didn't think of that detail. I would have to, hopefully I have some friends around to help me try to get this thing out of there. And if we're unable to, you know what? We'd have to let it sit. Or I could take pictures of it, and then there would still be, a lot of people would still doubt the authenticity no matter what of the pictures.
You know what I would do? And I'm sorry, all the Facebook groups, because I'm a no-kill too. It's on a lot of law books in different states. You are not allowed to kill Bigfoot. It's capital murder. Yeah,
that's strange. For something that's not officially existing, you could be committing a crime. It's actually on the crime books, which is crazy. In theory, it shouldn't be because it doesn't exist.
Oh, the government knows that it exists. But like I said, if I was you, and none of my friends would even come close to me with the body out in the woods, I would cut its head off and take the head with me.
And that would be carryable or able to be carried because it wouldn't weigh a ton. It'd be heavy for a head, but.
And that's what Bo says. Bo says, cut off the head and that's all you need. That's right.
That is true. That would work.
It bothers me that the LA Berea tar pits don't contain a single Sasquatch bone. They have over 4 million bones but no Sasquatch. Yeah, that does. It really inquires me. Now, personally, I think, in my opinion, it's not a fact that we have bodies. The government has the bodies. They're studying them. I don't know if they're alive. I know that they probably have dead bodies. Why is it in California when a certain crew goes in from TV and they're getting hot on the trail of Sasquatch, and next thing you know, the government comes in and buys 2,000 square acres of land and fences it off. And the fence is over 10 feet tall with barbed wire sticking towards the outside to keep people from coming inside. That doesn't make any sense.
You're right. That certainly does not. And I've heard that type of rumor from like the Mount St. Helens eruption and other things. Supposedly, and fires that have occurred, wildfires in particular. I've heard rumors that they are supposed to have some bodies.
Right.
The truth is, I don't think anyone truly knows, or at least no one who's talking is what I should say, knows truly.
Now, we don't know, but here's the problem I have, Sean, and I'll be honest with you, I see all this evidence, pictures, videos. Some of them makes you question. Some of them wow you. Some of them freaks you out. And you're like, this is not supposed to exist. But it does. Look at the land between the lakes. You heard the story behind that, haven't you?
The land between the lakes?
Yes. About Dogman and people camping back in 1975. How the Dogman killed the family and put one of the children up in the trees like 30, 40 feet away.
Well, I can't say that I have. Is that documented, or that at least the family had this injury?
You have to look it up. Yes. Yes. Chris, where did that happen? I like to look that up. Which part? Which part are you talking about? The California land? Let me know if it's the California land. He was on one of the Bigfoot shows. I think you can probably Google it.
And it was in California, though?
Yes.
Okay.
It was in California.
I will have to look that up. That's interesting.
You know, it some of the things that the government does doesn't make sense. And I think if you did have 8 or 9 buddies coming down to help you carry this thing, it would still be impossible to carry because of the weight. But I know y'all would find a way to carry it out or drag it out. But before those 8 or 9 buddies would get there, they would probably make 6 or 7 phone calls. Those 6 or 7 phone calls would probably turn into 40 or 50 phone calls. Those 50s would probably turn into 110 phone calls. You see where I'm going with this?
The government would respond before, in the end, before my friends got there.
Either that or they're going to meet you as you're dragging it out.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. One or the other.
Yeah. Yeah, I do believe that. What's that show where the survivalist carries that 90-pound backpack?
You talking?
They was just at the Bigfoot show or whatever a couple
maybe
weeks
Les
ago.
Stroud show?
Yes. Is that what it's called?
I don't recall that. I don't know the name of his show, to tell you the truth. But I know that he would certainly have a backpack, and he's done some Bigfoot work and research when in the field.
There's they use drones. There's a female with white hair. They saw a shadow on the sides of the rocks that just disappeared. I'm trying to jog somebody's memory out there in the crowd. It's not an expedition Bigfoot. It's something else. Bo, does that help you out any? And of course, I watched it all the time. They always chasing it around the woods, or they always run away from it.
There's Alaska
Bigfoot killers
or something like that. Yeah.
That was with Nantucket. Was that what the name of the Bigfoot was called? Or Nanku or something like that? Oh, everybody's got it. There's a big Facebook group out there for them. Mm-hmm. And yeah, Bo, I'm gonna have to look that up for you, or you look it up and Google it. It's one of the famous shows that everybody watches. I think it was on Travel Channel once a week. And
Expedition and Finding are the two main ones I could think of.
I think it came on Sunday nights. And their season's over. Their season just ended like not even a month ago.
Did they just do Bigfoot by the chance? Or did they do more than that?
Bigfoot.
Only Bigfoot.
They had drones that sent out pheromones up in the air, covered square miles. They used drones with infrared cameras, flares.
I'll have to check it out. Sounds like a show I'd love to watch because the technology involved.
Yeah, they were on top of a mountain, and at the bottom of the mountain there was a big, huge lake. I know somebody's out there has got to be listening and knows what it is. That just drives me nuts not being able to tell.
You sure it's not Expedition?
It could be. It could be Expedition Bigfoot. Maybe that is it.
Yeah, I
I
can't.
think I think you're right.
Because I know they used a pheromone trick at one time.
Yep, that's it. There you go, Bo. Expedition Bigfoot. Yep. Because that one guy carries that big old backpack.
Yes, I think Russell Cord, I believe.
Yes, Russell's his name. So now we know for sure that's the show, Bo. But yeah, because they met up with an old logger or something, and he asked them why they were out here and if they had permits to be out here. And they said, we're filming a Bigfoot show, and your face is not going to be displayed. So they kept filming it and blurred his face out. And he ended up having pictures on his phone of some Sasquatch's nest where they bedded down. And the forestry people found out about it. And that's when the government, I can't think of the correct term, to where they consume land anytime
Like
they
seize the
want.
land?
Yeah, the season land. I can't remember what term it
Or
is.
confiscated, maybe?
Now it's a legal jargon term.
Oh, okay.
But it's either 1,000 or 2,000 acres, and they put a fence up right away. So.
And that was part of Expedition Bigfoot?
Yep.
I'll have to.
They said that this is where they nested.
Mm-hmm.
This is where they live. So it was to keep people out and whatever.
I'm not a trusting person in that show is the nicest words I will say for that show, but I will have to look up that particular episode.
Yeah, I would, because who was the guy was in charge?
Bryce.
Yes, Bryce.
I'm not sure what might be maybe Johnson. I'm not sure what his last name is though.
But yeah, because one of them found out from one of the locals what happened. Bryce verified it, I do believe. So they went to that area next to the fence and did the research. So yes. Grizzly, I meant the story about the film crew that caused the government to the fence off the line. The film crew was Expedition, right? What was the name of the TV show?
Oh, you asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, Expedition Bigfoot.
Yeah, Expedition Bigfoot. It was on that series. Because they've been out there for almost 2 years filming. And they were getting so close. They got images on flare, but they got so close to the truth that it got back to the forestry, and it got back to somebody high up, and they blocked them off. And instead of blocking them off, it drew them right to the fence. So I think this season you'll see them next to the fence, working and filming and so forth. Because I think right next to the fence, they found a structure that was probably human-made up on a tree, if I remember correctly. I think that was the last season.
That would be interesting.
Or last episode. Yeah, it was. So, but, it just, like I said, you see things that's not supposed to be seen. You hear things that's not supposed to be heard. What else? What else is going to happen? We have all these different types of cryptids. I got a guy from Arkansas. What is it? The Tasmanian Devil? With the big long snout, big long body, with the creepy tail and the tiger stripes on its high end.
Or Jersey? Do you mean Jersey Devil?
No, the Tasmanian Devil is.
The Tasmania is only like about. I can't put it on here, but it's a little guy. It's not a big thing.
Right, but it's been extinct since 1936.
Not the Tasmanian Devil. Are you mean the thylacine? Is that what you mean?
Yes, the thylacine.
Okay.
You're right. Thanks for correcting me.
No, I'm sorry. I hope that they are still around in some form deep in the Australian outback.
We
Or
got
maybe
one in
not out of the
Arkansas.
woods. I'm sorry?
We got one in Arkansas.
You have one in Arkansas?
I seen the photograph off a game trail camera.
I would love to, if you can give me an idea how to find that picture, I would love to check that out.
I can't share it.
Oh, you can't share it.
So I interviewed a guy from Travel Channel that's been on Ancient Aliens and a bunch of other shows. And he has been researching that animal for years. He wants to prove they still exist over in that country that you just mentioned, because they have had sightings.
They're supposed to be gone from the mainland of Australia, but there's still some people believe they still could be on the island of Tasmania.
That is correct.
I believe for the thylacine too.
Right. And nonchalantly, and this is how I said it, they're here. He goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "They're here in Arkansas." He said, "What?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I can connect you to the guy that's got pictures of it." He goes, "You got to be joking." I'm like, "Nope." I gave him the contact information. First, I called, make sure it was okay. I told who the guy was and everything. And he didn't want no cameras on his property because he was afraid about, his family of Squatches. But he would share the pictures and everything with them. So this happened a couple of days ago. So hopefully they're communicating and sharing stuff. But, stuff like that needs to be posted.
I've heard that they are trying to bring back, that's one creature they're trying to bring back, the thylacine in Australia. They're trying to do, through some kind of DNA research. I think that's one. And the woolly mammoth is another that scientists are trying to bring back, or at least working on it.
If we can clone pigs and other animals, we can bring back dead animals that existed millions of years ago.
Yep.
Look at the movie. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just forgot it. The one with all the dinosaurs in it.
Jurassic Park?
Yes, look at Jurassic Park.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that they were not that far off from genetically making things? Technology has advanced so far.
And it's been almost 20 years probably since the first movie, so.
Yeah. And look how long ago that was.
Yeah.
I think I was a junior or senior in high school. I think it came out in 92 or 93. I can't remember, but it's somewhere around there. And, and like you said, they're trying to bring back the woolly mammoth. That baby they found still had blood intact and everything.
Yeah, I'm okay with the woolly mammoth and the thylacine, but dinosaurs, I would not be okay with bringing back. Although part of it is certainly having seen the movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen all of them. But says that humans and dinosaurs don't mix. There's a reason why they're extinct.
Absolutely.
Yeah, really. But you stop and think about all these things, and you just wonder. You think you've seen it all, but you haven't. You don't think it exists, but it does. Our minds can't wrap around things. I've known people since doing podcast shows, talk to people that have PTSD for seeing Sasquatch and will never go back in the woods and have terror nightmares every night. They drive by a set of woods. They get scared and freaked out. Like I said, some people can't handle it.
That certainly would be the case. It's a shame, but
Yeah, it is. It really is. And let me tell
the
you
woods are
something,
beautiful.
John. If I ever go out with you and your group
Mhm.
and one's chasing us, I'm on a cane, brother. So somebody's going to be tripped.
I like how you put it. Someone's going to be tripped.
Yeah, I'm not going down. But on an actual note, though, it's amazing how some of these people interact with Sasquatch with feeding them every night at the same time. And that is such a no-no. You know, allegedly from an Indiana Bigfoot group, this older lady was feeding this family every night for years. She got sick and went to the hospital. They were very, very pissed off. They were hungry. They had no food. She come back 2 weeks later, barely able to walk, and she went out to try to feed them, got halfway down the yard, and the alpha male came out and punched her in her chest, and she died. And the coroner reported it was blunt force trauma to the chest that he's never seen before. It broke all the ribs and everything. So, you know, I'll leave that up to the conclusion of what it could have been. But, you know, in reality, my theory is it had to be a Bigfoot, a Sasquatch. I could be wrong. You know, like I said, I'm not the sharpest, box of rocks around, but
Well, also in Vietnam, supposedly our soldiers saw Bigfoot, and they were involved with rock throwing battles or with the Bigfoot, or the Bigfoot were throwing rocks at them.
Yes. And, I heard stories as well, I don't know if they're correct, about in Iraq, when those soldiers enter that cave, one come lunging out and 4 or 5 soldiers open fired and empty out their mags, and it dropped it.
That's probably about what it would take. A lot of shots.
So, so we know they're flesh and blood. Now, are they able to cloak and walk through portals and travel on UFOs and spacecraft and cloak and shrink? I have no idea. I really don't.
I'm a little skeptical on that. On that stuff, yeah. I can't, but just because it does not mean they can't do it, though.
Well, until you prove me actually the facts, then I'll actually believe it. But you have all these witnesses that says the same thing, and what do you think? I mean, they all can't be liars.
No, they're definitely not liars.
Everybody doesn't know everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So
you mean in terms of seeing the strange things are surrounding Bigfoot and everything?
That is correct. That is.
I would think somehow they're mistaken or not seeing something right. Or at least some of them are not. I know that might sound crazy to say, but somehow they're just not seeing something right or something.
Well, that is always a possibility, and there has been things misidentified for sure. So, Sean, how does everybody get a hold of you once again?
All right, you can get a hold of me. I'm on Facebook, Sean Wagner. Also, I am from the Catskill Appalachian Research Collective, We are on Facebook, and we are also on, we also have a YouTube channel, CARC Universal. And you can message me at CARC.SeanW, SEAN. Well, it's right in front there. SEANW @gmail.com as well. And I'd be glad to help anyone I can help. Or
And you said also you had a podcast?
yes, my show is Paranormal Files Into the Darkness. We have a guest.
Paranormal Files Into the Darkness. That's a good name.
I based it off of the show Paranormal Files Fact or Faked. I wasn't going to copy it completely, and I didn't want to copy it, but I liked the beginning.
Right.
And that's the basis for it. And we got together with with my co-hosts at the time, and we were in the darkness. And she goes, "Let's make it in darkness." I said, "Okay, that works."
That's cute. That really is.
It has a great ring to it. It's a great name.
It absolutely is. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. We're getting ready to go into the next show, less than 10 minutes. This is Grizzly. If you want to be on my show, all you have to do is email me, Grizzly, the paranormal @gmail.com. Once again, that's Grizzly, the paranormal @gmail.com. From around the world, from coast to coast, from Sean and I, thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.